Welcome, Sonoma State Transfer Seawolves. I hope that you all are doing very well and are excited about the next steps in your adventure to coming to Sonoma State University as a transfer student. My name is Alvin Nguyen, and my pronouns are he, him, his, and I'm the director of the Transfer Center. Along with me, I have my two colleagues, and I'm going to have them introduce themselves.
Hi everyone, I'm Veronica Gonzalez. I'm one of the transfer advisors here at Sonoma State University. I'll hand it off to my colleague.
What's up, y'all? My name is Aaron. I'm the other transfer advisor here at Sonoma State. Welcome to Sonoma State.
Great, thank you, Aaron and Vero. So we just did the introduction of the presenters, and I just want to take a little bit of time and welcome you all and frame kind of what to expect in the coming session. So Vero and Aaron and myself and many people on campus have been working very hard to make sure that we have all the different resources and tools and information for you to be successful at your advising and registration for this upcoming fall. Something that we really like to rally behind here in the Transfer Center is this idea of progress, not perfection. We're all human. We all are doing the best that we can, but we can't always be perfect, right? That's really often the case with our transfer students. Sometimes our transfer students might think that, oh, they took the long way to get to the university, or they're so busy doing so many other things with multiple jobs, taking care of family and doing X, Y, and Z, that maybe they aren't able to do the things the way they want to do them, or maybe they did not take the traditional path to getting to the university. We don't prescribe to that. Our idea is that all of our paths are different, our experiences are different, and what matters most is that we are making progress on the path that we are on. And so we as staff at Sonoma State University believe in this, and we try to extend the same to our students. We recognize that not everything is going to work in a straight line when you get here. So that being said, it's really important to keep that in mind, right? So as we go over these resources and services, and as you start getting your footing and you start submitting transcripts, and maybe things aren't posted as quickly as you would like them to be, or maybe you're able to register for 3 out of the 4 or 5 classes that you really wanted, you're going to have to be very flexible. And we have confidence in you as transfer students that you have that flexibility, because you wouldn't be here, you wouldn't be selected to come to Sonoma State, and you wouldn't have accepted coming to Sonoma State if you did not already exhibit some level of flexibility and the ability to adapt and move forward. And so basically what we want to do is acknowledge that it's all about progress. It's all about taking one step in front of the other towards the right direction, but not all things are going to be perfect at the beginning. Another example you hear as Vero and Aaron go into some of the information is your transcripts might be an example of something that is going to be progress, not perfection. We have time. We have summer, we have fall semester to come together and make sure that you're on track. So the idea being that not everything might line up the way you would want them to be or you think they should be, but you are on track as long as you are making progress, as long as you are registering for 1 class, 2 classes, 3 classes, as long as you're reading your emails and taking the next right step, you're on track. There's not a perfect way of moving through what it means to be a transfer student and coming through into a new university. So we ask that you extend the grace to us, that we are doing our best to give you all the information we think that you need to be successful, and in turn we will extend the same grace to you, that you're doing your best, you've been doing your best, and that maybe you might not know all the answers, but that you're doing your best to retain the information and to be successful as a student. So that being said, thank you and welcome, and I'm now going to turn it over to Vero to start going over the fundamentals of what it means to be a transfer student.
Thanks, Alvin. All right, everyone. I know Alvin already mentioned it, but we do just want to do a quick introduction one more time. Again, I'm Veronica Gonzalez. I am one of the transfer advisors here at Sonoma State, and with me today I also have
What's up, everybody? My name is Aaron Solorio. I'm one of the transfer advisors here as well, but I also serve as the California Promise Advisor here at Sonoma State. So, welcome, and hopefully you all find this information helpful as you start your tenure here at Sonoma State University.
Thank you, Aaron. For the next hour, we're going to go ahead and cover some very important fundamentals for you all, especially as new incoming transfer students. So please bear with us. There's a lot of information that's going to be going your way, but as Alvin mentioned, it's progress, not perfection, right? Like, we're giving you the tools to help you succeed, but we understand that it may be a lot. So take it at your own pace. Little by little gets you there eventually. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we can officially get started with all of that. Over learning the fundamentals. Again, these are essential skills, information, and tools for you all to be successful here at Sonoma State your first semester. Just super quick, I want to go over the agenda and what to expect within this next hour. Again, I'm sorry, it's an hour of hearing Aaron and I talk a lot, but I promise the stuff that we're going over is incredibly important for you all. So a few quick things. We're going to talk about speaking Seawolf. What essentially that means is we're going to be going over some important terms that come across here at Sonoma State campus, just to help you be able to acclimate to the system here as well. We're going to be going over talking about units, breaking down some SSU tools. We'll go over some registration suggestions as well. And we'll do a live demo on how to search for your classes, where to seek advising, and some Q&A and future resources for you all as well. So first thing, learning to speak Seawolf. First of all, you are all coming from 2, even 3 or more years from community college or private school or even a different CSU or UC, where you spent all that time learning the language, learning the terms from that school, only to have to restart all over again, right? It's a lot. It can take a lot of time to accumulate and learn the language spoken here at Sonoma State. So we're going to help you all out in covering some important terms and acronyms you'll see across campus, just to kind of help you all in that first transition semester. Again, you're not going to be an expert. That's totally understandable, but hopefully this will help you in your way for your next 2 or even 3 years here at Sonoma State. So the first acronym you see on the page is FTT. So what is FTT? Essentially, FTT is all of you all. The FTT stands for first-time transfer students, which is what you are all labeled as here during your first semester at Sonoma State. So just know if you're seeing programs listed as FTT or you're seeing FTT labeled on your MySSU or your Local Connect, essentially that's just a recognition that you are transfer students and this is your first year here at Sonoma State. Similar to FTFY. FTFY stands for first time, first year. So essentially our freshman students coming into Sonoma State. Next up, we have MySSU. Essentially, MySSU is referring to an online tool. It's your online student portal where you can look up all your academic records. You can look up your schedule. MySSU is what you will use to register for courses in the future as well. So MySSU will be a tool that you will be repeating or you will be accessing over and over again. Next up is your SSU ID. Your SSU ID is actually a 9-digit ID number that's unique to you. Pro tip, as you're continuing on here at Sonoma State, when you reach out via email, when you sign up for appointments, you really want to start getting familiar with your SSU ID, because your SSU ID is actually the number that will be asked out of you the most here at Sonoma State. It helps us narrow down what student is whose information are we looking up. I know some students feel like they have a very unique name, but I can guarantee you at some point in your life, you'll run across someone who has that same name as you. I didn't think there was a lot of combinations of Veronica Gonzalez. Turns out, first year I got here, there were 2 other employees with the same name. So it can get very confusing real quick. So just make sure you include your SSU ID number whenever you're sending out emails. Next up is LD and UD. LD and UD essentially stand for lower division and upper division. Here at Sonoma State, lower division courses are courses labeled 100 to 299. Upper division courses are labeled 300 to 499. The difference between both is that upper division courses are typically catered for our upper division students, so think of juniors and seniors and so on and so forth. And lower division students are typically our freshmen or sophomore. Now, that doesn't mean that as a first-time transfer student, you can't take a lower division course. It just means that lower division is a class that can be labeled 100 to 299. Typically, our first-time transfer students coming from a junior college or a different school, they have completed most of the lower division courses and just need their upper division courses when they come to Sonoma State. Next up is GE. So essentially, GE stands for General Education. In the case for most of you, you've already done all that work already. And that work has been to complete like your Golden 4, your English courses, your math courses, your social science courses, your science courses as well. If you see the term GE, that essentially just stands for General Education. Another acronym that you'll see across a lot is TCR, which just means Transfer Credit Report. Your TCR is going to be an important tool for all students, but especially for our first-time transfer students, because your TCR will show us all the work you've done prior to coming to Sonoma State. So your TCR provides an overview of your transferable coursework taken from any other institution. That can be a community college, that can be a UC, that can be another CSU, a private school, an out-of-state school. Anything and everything that you've taken outside of Sonoma State that you received credit for, even exams, so like AP scores, IB Club, DSST, all of that will be located in your TCR. This tool is important because it will show us what official transcripts we have received from Sonoma State and that have been evaluated and articulated to give you credit here for Sonoma State, your Sonoma State degree. We'll go over it in a bit. We're going to do a live demo how to actually locate this information. But just know, whenever you're reaching out for support or curious if you have been given credit for a transcript or if you've been given credit for a class you took previously, you're going to want to be looking at your transfer credit report, your TCR. The next acronym that you'll see around as well is going to be your ARR. So your ARR stands for Academic Requirements Report. Your Academic Requirements Report, essentially what it is just a big giant checklist of all the requirements you need to do in order to receive your degree from Sonoma State. This page will show you what you've taken, what you still need, how many units you've completed. It does talk with your TCR, so if you received credit for something, it's going to show up on there as well. And when it's ready for graduation, that's going to be the primary source that the folks who review your degree will look at to see if you qualify for your bachelor's or your double bachelor's in some cases. So your ARR is definitely going to be a tool that you want to be referencing a lot. And again, we'll do a live demo on this section as well. So a few things before we go into the live demo. First thing is that I want to talk about units. Some of you may have already heard the term 15 to finish. It's a really catchy term. And for most cases, for some students, that's typically what they take in order to get out of here within 2 years. They'll take about 15 units per semester. However, Aaron and I and our suite as well, our department, would like to challenge you all with, instead of thinking 15 to finish, try to think 30 units a year. And essentially what that means is Sonoma State is lucky enough to have 4 different terms. We have a fall semester, we have a winter intersession, we have a spring semester, and we have a summer intersession. So what that means for you all is that you can divide your 30 units a year into 4 different terms, right? You can take a few units in the fall, a few in the winter, a few in spring, and a few in summer, and still graduate on time. Or in some cases, some of our students will take a few units in the fall and then make up the rest of the units in the spring to still get their 30 units a year. That's definitely possible as well. But however you want to use it, if you want to take advantage of the 4 terms, or if you just want to stick to the fall and spring semester, as long as you're tracking 30 units for the full year, you're going to be okay. And the reason we're bringing this up, it's very common for our our FTT, right, our first time transfer students during their first semester to get on average 12 to 15 units. That's totally fine. A lot of reasons for that is because it's your first semester, right? It's kind of hard to go through that whole registration process. And in some cases, some classes are taken by continuing students. So just know if you're in that marker of 12 units or 15, you're still going to be okay because you have those 30 units for the entire year. So you'll still have winter, you'll still have spring, and you'll still have summer to make up any units you need to make up for as well. With that being said, I do want to quickly just talk about part-time versus full-time status. Full-time here at Sonoma State are students who receive 12 units or more. Again, remember the 30 units a year. So what that means is if you have 15 units, does that make you full-time? Yes, because you're 12 units, right? If you don't get 15 units, does that mean you're no longer a full-time student? No, as long as you're at 12 units or more, you're going to be okay. However, please keep in mind that for specific programs, they do have a unit requirement for you to take. So for example, if you receive financial aid, if you're a student athlete, if you're part of MESA, EOP, they want to have a full-time status for you all. So that's going to be about 12 units minimum for y'all to receive those services as well. And with that, I do want to quickly talk about banded tuition. So Sonoma State has this unique tuition program. I know some other CSUs do it as well, but essentially it's different to a community college where you pay per unit. Here at Sonoma State, you pay on basically 2 different brackets. I am going to use last year's tuition fees. If you want to see the newer fees, please reference your Civil Service Center. They have a label there for new 2023 to 24 tuition fees. But essentially, the 2 brackets for Sonoma State are the 1 to 6 units and the 7 units and up. So what this essentially means is that if you enroll between 1 to 6 units, you essentially will pay the price of about $1,665. So as long as you're within that range, that's what you're going to pay. If at the moment that you enroll in 7 units or more, you're going to pay a different bracket price, and that is the $2,871. So what does that really mean for you all, right? So if you are in between taking 6 or 7 units, right? For some students, it makes sense just to keep it at 6 units because they can afford that price and they rather save up their money for the next semester when they do 7 units or more, right? In some cases, some students get into that 7 unit marker and they're having to pay that $2,000 price. So it makes sense to add in more classes to make it worth their buck. So just some numbers to keep you all informed and kind of help you out as you're making your schedules for the future as well. The next thing that I want to talk about is general education and the upper division section. So I mentioned in the beginning that a lot of you have already completed your general education. Some of you may have 1 or 2 random lower division general education stuff that you still have to do, and that's totally fine. Those are things you can get out of the way during your first semester here at Sonoma State. But most of you, if not almost 100% of you all, will have to still do the 3 upper division GE courses. So there are 3 classes that all of our FTT students have to do, or incoming students have to do, and there are 3 upper division GE courses. So you would have to take 1 course from each GE area labeled below. So you would do 1 course in the scientific inquiry and quantum reasoning, which is area B, 1 course underneath the arts and humanities, which is area C, and then 1 course in social science, which is area D. The top main reason that you have to still do 3 more additional upper division GE courses is because it's in the name itself, right? They're upper division. Most community colleges and students who are coming in as FTT have only done lower division classes. So because of that, there's still the upper division section that you have to do. Now, I did mention that most of you will still have to do this. There are a few exceptions. So if you're coming from out of state school, or if you're coming from a different CSU or UC and you've taken upper division courses, you may have one of these already checked off. But for the most part, there's still a good number of you that will have to do all of them. And with that, we're going to switch over to the live demo of the ARR. So give me 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and share our screen for all of you. So like I mentioned before, we were going to do a quick live demo of your ARR. Later on, Aaron will be going over how to search for your classes as well. So just know you'll have that kind of live feedback in terms of that. But for your MySSU, we'll go ahead and get started. But this is when you log into Sonoma State. This is what you're going to look at, right? You'll log into your little tile, you'll input your credentials into it, and you should be faced with this page right here. So this is your MySSU. Again, the tile is the one with the paw print located on it that will take you or direct you to this page. So this is your MySSU, and then on here you'll go ahead and select Student Center. It might take a while to load. I know mine always does. Perfect. So this is your homepage for your Student Center, and this is essentially going to be the main hub for a lot of you to locate your information. If any of you are coming from Santa Rosa JC, this may look similar to your cubby where all your information is located, along with your transcripts and all that info. So similar process to it as well. So again, this is your MySSU homepage. A few things before we go into your ARR, your TCR, and that is going to be, if you take a look on the right-hand side, you'll see this hold section, you'll see this to-do list, you'll see this advisor section. A few things I kind of want to keep in your radar. The hold section is super important that you're keeping your eye on it during the semester. If at any point you have something on there, just know that during the registration period, right, in the future or for right now in the summer, if there's anything on there, it can prevent you from being able to enroll in your classes, right? So if you're getting prevented from rolling into courses, then that means you may not be able to get the ideal schedule that you really want. So just something to keep on your radar. Same thing with to-do lists. It may not have a hold in your account, but definitely something you'll want to take care of as soon as possible. And just pro tip, what you can do, there is this more section here. And when you select it, you can actually look into a little bit more as to what the hold or the to-do list is asking you to complete. So there is a way for you to find out what you need to do in order to clear it as well. So for future semesters, also just a pro tip, when you get assigned a registration date, you'll find it in this right-hand column as well. The last thing I kind of want to talk about regarding this column is the advisor section. Some of you may already have something on there. For most of you, you're going to have, I don't know, or myself's name on it, or even I'll say transfer team or transfer center and have our office phone number. If you don't have a major advisor listed on there, that's totally fine. That's really normal for our students not to have someone on there during their first semester. Typically, the next few semesters is when you'll see your major advisor on there. And main reason why is that they're establishing what concentration you're going into, who's going to be here, who's taking over certain majors, and all that information as well. So just know if you don't see anyone on there, it doesn't mean that you don't have a major advisor. It's just they haven't officially listed it for you on there, so you'll want to be taking a look at their website. And Aaron will be going over how to look up your advisors later on today as well. Just a few other things. You have your contact information on there. You do have information regarding your financial aid listed on there as well. And Aaron will be going over the shopping cart later on today as well. So we're going to go ahead and look up an example of a transfer credit report. Again, transfer credit reports are essential, especially for our transfer students, because it essentially has everything that you received credit for from your previous institution as well. So the way that we're going to find it, on the left-hand side, you'll locate this academics tab. And if you scroll down, you'll see something that says other academic information. If you select the pull-down menu here, go ahead and locate the full name of your TCR, which is Transfer Credit Report. And then once you do that, go ahead and hit the double arrows. Perfect. So this is an example of Transfer Credit Report, or TCR. I'll go ahead and break down what the TCR, each section of the TCR looks like, but just a quick reminder, as you're looking at your TCR, your transfer credit report from your own My SSU, if you're noticing that you're missing some schools on that report, it's most likely because we haven't received your official transcript or we haven't received your official test credit. In the case for those of you who are submitting AP scores or IB exams as well. I know that in the beginning, some of you may have submitted unofficial transcripts. Just know for the purpose of receiving full credit for your academic record, Sonoma State can only accept official transcripts. So if you haven't already done so, make sure you are sending those official transcripts as soon as possible to get your full credit on there. So with that being said, let me go ahead and scroll down. So again, this is a summary of everything we've officially received from your institution. In this first half, on the left-hand side, you'll locate transfer credit. This will list all the schools we have received information from. So official transcripts or exams. Underneath the test score, this is where you can locate if you received any exams and from where. And then if you scroll down, you actually get to see a list of everything you've submitted. On this left-hand side, you'll see transfer institution, taken term, transfer course title, units, and grade. This is all the information from that school. So the name of the school, the name of the class, the semester you took it, and the grade you got. And on the right-hand side, starting from term posted up to grade, is everything that you will receive here from Sonoma State, right? So what is the equivalency of anything for that class? If we are going to give you credit, what's the credit that we're going to give you? In some cases, we don't have equivalencies for a course that you took somewhere else, but you'll still receive either a GE credit or you'll receive something on there that says like transfer credit received. So essentially you are still getting your units. However, we don't have like an exact match to that course. An example of this, for example, is Physics 197. You'll see here, for one of the units for physics, we can only give them a B1 credit for it as well. So those are kind of things of what you're looking at. Just a quick reminder, you don't have to be an expert on how to read that. This is one of the things Aaron and I can help you out with during your first semester here, is how to read that and make sure that everything has been transferred in correctly. And don't feel afraid to ask to confirm if something has been transferred incorrectly. That's something we can do during the semester. Just because we have a little bit more time with that, we have more resources to our disposal during that first semester as well. Now, if you have a test credit that you're submitting, you'll find that underneath the test credit section as well. So that is your transfer credit report. So one quick thing before I forget, for those of you who are bringing in courses from a community college, just know that Sonoma State can only receive a max of 70 units from a JC. Does that mean that if you've taken more courses, it's not going to show up? No. On your transfer credit report, we will list everything that you have submitted to Sonoma State. But in terms of units and credit that we can give you for your degree, we can only cap it at 70 units. If you are bringing units from a different CSU, a different UC, or private school, or out-of-state school, you're not held to that same 70 unit minimum. So just giving you a heads up on that part as well. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and switch on over to your ARR. well. So similar how you found your transfer credit report, that's how we're going to find your academic requirements report or your ARR. And essentially, again, coming back to that pull down menu, we are going to go ahead and select that very first option where it says academic requirements. Unfortunately, report didn't fit on there, so that's why you only see AR. But I promise it's still the same stuff. So go ahead and select it and do the double arrows. Perfect. And this brings us to your academic requirements report. So I'm sure I didn't mention this in the beginning, but I do really want to quickly mention this is not an actual student account. I promise I wouldn't do that for you all. This is Sally Sonoma. Sally Sonoma is like our mascot here at Sonoma State, and this is their quote-unquote student account. It just helps us visualize what it looks like from a student perspective. So I promise, not a real student, but if you ever do meet Lobo, go ahead and make friends with them too. So for Sally Sonoma, this is their account. I'm not going to go into exact detail in breaking down the ARR, but I do want to generalize it a little bit. But the main reason I can't break it down tier by tier is because everyone's ARR is going to look very different. Your ARR is a reflection of your very specific needs and requirements, and things that can impact it are what year you came to Sonoma State, if you're a returning student, what's your major, do you have a second major, another minor, if you're part of very specific programs, did you receive your associate's degree from the community college, right? A lot of variables have an impact on your ARR. Hence why we can't go into detail by detail, because what I'll cover may not be the same for you in your specific ARR. However, there are some key functions on there that are required by all students, and those are going to be the primary ones that we're going to look at together. One other quick thing I want to mention is that our expectation is not for you to be a complete master of the ARR. In some cases, some students are, and that's great, but that's not our expectation. During your next few semesters here at Sonoma State, Adon and I will be that primary resource for you in helping you understand your ARR together as well. So in breaking down your ARR, I already said one last thing, but I promise this is the last thing. Going back to your Sonoma State ID number, if you haven't received your ID card yet, if you lose it at some point in the semester, or if you're in a place where you can't locate it, I know that happens to me all the time. Just know that if you come to your ARR at the very top of the page, you will always locate your student ID number. So just know there is a place in your MySSU where you can find it, and that will be in your ARR. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start breaking down some of the general stuff you'll see on your ARR. So first half that you'll see top here, you'll see your overall GPA, which will include your Sonoma State GPA as well as the classes you have transferred over to Sonoma State as well. You will also see your Sonoma State GPA there that just pertains to Sonoma State classes you've taken thus far. On the left-hand side, you'll see where it says plan. That will reference what your current major is listed. A key thing that I like to point out, especially for our transfer students, whatever major is listed on here, that is going to reflect on the requirements that are going to be listed as well. So what does that really mean for y'all? If you are listed as history, but you just recently changed it to, let's say, kinesiology or biology, in your ARR, since kinesiology or biology are not listed, they're only going to reflect the major that has been officially listed on there. So let's say you switched it over recently, but it hasn't showed up. It's only going to reflect the previous major, not the newer one. So totally normal for there to be a wait period for your new majors to show up, but it's important, especially as you're going through the semesters, that you're at least checking up on it and ensuring that your newer majors have been updated on there as well. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. You'll see this icon with important information. honestly, the top 3 ones that you really want to keep your eye out for are going to be the green circle. The green circle indicates that your requirements have been met for that criteria. The yellow diamond, which means those are classes you're currently enrolled in, or that's a requirement that you're currently in the middle of working on. And the last one will be the red squares. So the red squares will indicate what you still have missing and what you need in order to plan out for the rest of the semester. Your ARR is essentially divided into 3 key categories. The first category is your university units. The second category is going to be your general education. And that final category will be your major. We're going to go over the first category because all of you will have this first category on here. And that's going to be the general undergraduate degree requirements. So again, this is essentially your university units. There are essentially 3 different university unit requirements. The first one is that students have to complete a total of 120 units. The second one is that they have to complete 40 units of upper division coursework. Again, reminder, upper division essentially means classes labeled 300 to 599. And the last requirement is that students have to do 30 units in residence. And 30 units in residence just essentially means classes you're taking here at Sonoma State. So transfer courses will not count in that section. So those are 3 university unit requirements you need to do. Really quick, before I kind of move over to the GE criteria, you'll see unit requirements throughout this whole page. Units are always divided into 3 columns: the required, taken, and needed. The one I like to point out to students the most is this middle column, the taken. Main reason why is that the taken column will include classes that we have received credit for, right? So past classes. But it will also include any class that you have enrolled in as well. Right now, since you have not registered for courses just yet, just know that when you do enroll in courses, this number is going to change to include those classes as well. So just something to keep on your radar. I know I talked about the red square, so I'll just give you a super quick example. Looking at this red square, Sally Sonoma knows that they still have to complete the 120 units. So that's how you would use those red squares to indicate what you still have missing. I'm going to go ahead and minimize the university unit criteria. And that's going to take us to part 2 of your ARR. So for part 2 of your ARR, this has to do with your general education. And the general education is actually divided into 3 different sections. You have your lower division, you have your upper division GEs, and then you have your CWOL studies. So coming up, you have your lower division GEs. Here are the lower division GEs for Sally Sonoma that they still have to complete. In your case, or in most cases for FTT students, they don't need to worry about the lower division GEs because for the most part that has been completed. However, please still make sure that you're looking at your ARR to ensure that you are done with your lower division GEs. In some cases, some classes that were taken at a JC or at a different school did not come correctly to Sonoma State, or they do not count for lower division GEs. So it's still important that you're looking at that to ensure if you haven't done it, then it's at least on your radar and you know it's something that you have to do later on in the semester as well. The next part for the general education area is the 3 upper division GE courses I mentioned earlier. In Sally Sonoma's case, they already done the social science one, so they don't have to worry about it. But they still have the area B, which is the scientific inquiry, and they still have the area C, which is arts and humanities. And the last part for general education is the CWOL studies. So for CWOL studies, this is one of the areas, unfortunately, it's a hit or miss for our FTT students. There are essentially 4 classes in CWOL studies. We have a U.S. history course that has to be completed. We have a United States Constitution course that has to be completed. We have a California state and local government course that has to be completed. And then we have a critical race/ethnic studies course that has to be completed. Those classes, in some cases, have been completed via general education, the lower division general education that some of our students have done. However, because these classes are very particular to Sonoma State, in some cases, not every student has completed all of the civil studies. They may still have like 1 or 2 civil studies still missing. If that is your case, please try to take care of them as soon as possible. Feel free to make an appointment with that order myself during the semester, and we can try to triple confirm that what you transferred in did not cover these classes. And if that's the case, we can definitely plan for a future semester as well. If you already know that the class you took did not cover any of these, please ensure that you're trying to get that done as soon as possible, just to open up your schedule for future classes as well. And then the last section in your ARR has to do with your major. I mentioned this before. Everyone's ARR is going to look different based on what they completed, based on their major. So I won't go into exact detail regarding history. Just know that whatever your major is, it will show up at the bottom, and it will show up at the bottom, and it will show all the requirements you still have left to do for that major. In Sally Sonoma's case, I know that they still have to do History 252 to complete their requirements. They still have to do European history and so on and so forth. So your ARR is going to be your best friend as you're establishing what you still need to do, as you're trying to create your plan on what you need to complete in order to graduate. And in most cases, for some students, if they're having a really hard time getting their hands, or they're having a really hard time trying to set up an appointment with their major advisor, their ARR becomes their best friend, because that's essentially telling you what you still need to do and how you go about to complete those requirements as well. So now that you know how to locate your academic requirements report as well as your transfer credit report, there are a few common scenarios that I do want to cover with you all as well before we go into your registration suggestions. So the first common scenario that tends to happen is that at this point you've gone to your TCR, you looked up your information, and one of 2 things will happen. One thing that tends to happen is that students will go on there and there is absolutely nothing on their TCR. It's completely blank. That is completely common, and it's understandable because, again, if you recall, your TCR is made up of your official transcripts. For some of you, you're still working up on your official transcripts. You may not have submitted it yet, or you may have declared Sonoma State a little bit later, so you're still updating all your information. Again, there'll be someone later on today that will cover information regarding transcripts and how long it takes to process to Sonoma State. But just know that if you go to your TCR and there's nothing there, you want to make sure you submit your official transcript as soon as possible. Now, if in your case, you know that you submitted an official transcript and it's been like 2 or 3 months and nothing has been posted, please reach out to admissions or the registrar's office to confirm the status of your transcript as well. If your missing transcript is going to impact something in your ability to register for courses, just know that there is a game plan for that for the semester while you're trying to transition into Sonoma State. With that being said, the second common scenario that tends to happen has to do with your ARR. So in some cases, students will go to their ARR and they will notice that they have a lot of their lower division GE stuff still missing. That's completely normal. What we suggest for students to do is that if they go to their ARR and they see they have a lot of things missing that they feel that should have been completed, your first step is to go and locate your TCR. Again, your TCR speaks to your ARR. So you want to go to the main source, right? Head on over to your TCR and see if what you have missing in your ARR has been updated or has been officially submitted in your TCR. In some cases, the reason why some students are missing some stuff in their ARR is because they still haven't submitted their official transcripts. Hence why their ARR is saying they don't have anything completed for that section. So that's going to be your first step. Go to your TCR and locate that information. Now, if you go to your TCR and the stuff is there and things aren't correct on your ARR, you have a few options. The first one is if you go to your TCR, your official transcript is there, but the class you thought completed the GE isn't completing it at all in your ARR, you're going to want to connect with a transfer advisor, so either Aaron or myself, and we can go over that GE requirement and try to see if it was inputted incorrectly or if it truly doesn't cover that requirement. Now, if what you are missing is underneath your major requirements and it's in your TCR, then you're going to want to connect with the major advisor to get that updated for you as well. I know we mentioned this in the past, but just a reminder, if you are missing things that are part of your GE requirements, just know that during the fall semester, that's going to be a really great time to connect with Aaron or myself to take care of that. The process is not hard, but it is a little bit of a lengthy process. So we want to make sure we give you all the support that you need with enough time allowed for it too. And then again, just a quick reminder, having those things missing on there are not going to hold you back in being able to enroll for classes. We have ways around it. And I promise, again, your hardest semester is going to be your first semester because of all these missing pieces, but the following semesters will be an easier transition as well. And with that being said, one of the key things that a lot of our students look forward to is the registration suggestions. So we've covered a lot of information. We've covered a lot of your MySSU tools. A lot of the tools are going to help you how to establish your possible schedule. And that, again, was your ARR or your TCR. But I do want to connect it back really quickly to what Alvin mentioned in the beginning, which was what we need to focus on during the summer, right? And what we need to focus on during the summer is ensuring that you have a class schedule for the fall semester. There's going to be a lot of things that you want to get cleaned up right away. I know a lot of students just want to make sure everything has been updated correctly. And I feel you for that. And I promise you that we will do that with you once the semester starts. But the most key and time important thing for you all to focus on during the summer is just having your schedule set. Everything else, we'll work on it. It's a process. We'll work on it during the first semester here so that you're ready to go for your second semester and by the time you start registering for it as well. So those are things that will take time. I promise we'll get to it. But we really need to let some things play out first. But one of the top things you need to do is to go ahead and select what kind of schedule you want to have during your first semester. Now, based on some information from previous classmates of you all from past years, we have 3 potential schedules. So option A would be for someone who is considering to have a full-time schedule. And they want to split their focus between taking 2 upper division GE courses and 2 major courses. So an example schedule for them would probably be taking Psych 325 and Chem 300 and then taking 2 of their business courses for their major. So that's like option A, right? 2 upper division GEs and then 2 major courses. Option would be to do a full-time schedule, but focusing more on their major courses. In this case, the student will do 1 upper division GE and take 3 major courses. In some cases, we get some students who want to do the opposite of that and do 3 other upper division GEs and 1 major course. That's also a viable option as well. And then the last kind of option for a suggestion would be someone who wants to do a part-time schedule. So typically for part-time schedules, some students at most will take about 3 classes. So it's just going to depend on what you want to focus on the most. Do you want to focus a little bit more on your major classes, or do you want to focus on the upper division GE courses? An example of this would be a student who wants to do 1 upper division GE course and decide to do 2 major classes. Vice versa would be taking 2 upper division GE courses and taking 1 major class as well. So just some ideas for you all to kind of consider And again, our key thing for y'all during the summer is selecting your fall class schedule. We can plan out the rest of your schedules and cleaning up your GAs during the start of the fall semester as well. So we're going to hand it off over to Aaron, who will cover the rest of today's presentation. So Aaron.
Perfect. Thank you, Vero, for that amazing information. Hopefully everybody has been taking some notes so y'all don't have to go back and reference the video. But if you do, good thing it's a video and y'all can go back and reference, right? So before I get into really going about or showing y'all how to search for classes, I briefly want to go over teaching mode definitions just to serve as a little either refresher or introductions in case you haven't heard some of these teaching modes. So we'll start off with synchronous. Synchronous, pretty much means that you'll meet with the professor online or you'll meet as a class online during specific times given, right? So say you're taking a synchronous course that where you meet Monday and Wednesdays at say 9 in the morning to 11 in the morning, but all of it is going to be online. Asynchronous, essentially, you as a student have access to the lecture and other class materials where you can access and move through the course at your own time, or as the professor opens up different modules for the week or throughout the semester. If you're taking a bisynchronous course, that means that it's going to be a mixture of both synchronous and asynchronous. So more than likely, say you'll be meeting online, say on 1 day per week, and then the rest of the course consists of online modules that the professor will open up, whether again, like on a weekly basis or throughout the semester. You may also find some courses that are going to be hybrid face-to-face or online class. With those courses, it's going to be a mixture of both on and off campus and some online components. So, I'm going to show you right now where you can, find that information if you are taking a hybrid face-to-face online class. So if you are taking a course like that, you're going to want to make sure that if the course does require you to be at an off-campus location, that you're able to get there, or it's going to work with your schedule. And lastly, we have our traditional face-to-face courses, meaning that, you will be meeting with the rest of the class on campus or off campus if the course has an off campus component. So just a quick little teaching mode definitions, again, reminder or introduction to those that may not have heard of these terms. But now with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen so I can show you all the demonstration of how to search for classes. All right, perfect, y'all. So like mentioned, I want to go over this, live demonstration on how to search for classes. Hopefully this will be beneficial, now that you're entering your first semester at Sonoma State, but, especially during your time here at SSU. So this page is very similar to what Vero showed us earlier. From here, you're going to want to go to your student center. And again, we're going to be using our friend Sally Sonoma to go through this demonstration. So again, this is going to look very similar to what you're going to see as a student on your student center. And there's going to be essentially two forms where you can go to search for classes, right? You can find it under academics, under search. Or for some, you're also going to see it on this top right section where it says search for classes. I'm going to go ahead and use this function under academics just because it's maybe a little bit easier for you as a student to identify. So I'm going to go ahead and click search, and you're going to be directed to this page here. So this page is going to be used, really as a way for you to kind of use this as filters to search for classes that you're interested in taking, whether it's specific courses that you need or as a way to look for courses that fall under specific requirements that you need to graduate. So one thing that I do want to point out, whenever you go to search for classes, you always want to make sure that you're on the appropriate term. So if I look at this term here, it says summer 2023. I want to go ahead and change that and select fall 2023, which would be the semester that we're looking for classes for. And then to start off, I want to go over, really this subject, right? So by using this function, you can really look for courses within your specific major that are being offered this semester. So if you go to select subject, you can go ahead and select your major. I'm gonna just use American Multicultural Studies for this example. So you can see that it pops up here. If you know the acronym for your major, you can go ahead and type it in the subject, or again, you can just go to select subject and look for your specific major. And then what you're going to want to do is just click on search. And this is going to pop up the courses that are still open for your specific major. So this is just a quick way for you to really see all the courses that are offered within your specific major. If, for example, you know a specific course that you need to take within your major, you can, again, put in the acronyms, and on the box right below it, you can put in the number for the course, so you can do a quick search of it instead of having to go through the specific through all the courses that your major is offering. So there's one way that you can use this search for classes function to search for classes, right? It's just filtering it out by your specific major. I'm gonna go ahead and clear this out. So again, we want to make sure that fall 2023 is the term we're looking at. And then another, function that you can use with this is going to be under this additional search criteria. Under this additional search criteria, you can use this course attribute function. So with this course attribute function, you can look for courses, whether it's general education or teaching mode. So for example, I'll start off with teaching mode. So, if you're looking, say, for a class that's asynchronous, right? Fully online, where you can kind of move at your own pace, you can select under course attribute teaching mode, and under course attribute value, you'll click that drop down menu, and you can filter it either by asynchronous, bisynchronous, a synchronous online class. So if you click on asynchronous, for example, click on search, you're going to get a list of courses that are all asynchronous that are being offered for the fall 2023 semester. So, this is definitely going to be beneficial, say, if you're like a commuter student, and you're looking to take some courses in person, but you're also looking to take some courses online. This is going to be beneficial for you to use. That way you can really filter it out by options available for you to take online. A common one that we use in the transfer center, like mentioned, all transfer students need to complete those 9 upper division GE requirements, is we use this general education function. So under this general education function, similar to like what we did for teaching mode, we'll go to course attribute value. And here you can filter out courses that will meet the specific requirements you still need to complete your general education requirements. So, say you still need to complete a lower division requirement, you can go through here and filter it out by the specific lower division requirement that you need. But like mentioned, all students do need to complete those 9 units of upper division general education requirements. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at our upper division arts and humanities requirement. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this one. Go ahead and click search. And then this is going to populate all the courses that are still open and that would meet the upper division arts and humanities requirement. So this is going to be really a way to save you time as you prepare for, in this case, fall 23 registration, but especially as you continue moving forward, in your semesters here at Sonoma State. A few things that I want to point out from while we're on this section here is really breaking down what all of this means, right? So each course is going to have this 4-digit class number. So it's going to be important for you to write down this 4-digit class number, as you will need it, as it will be used when you are registering for classes. And I'll speak a little bit about that in the next section. But just take note that each section offered does have its specific course number. So take note that you're writing these correctly and appropriately according to the course section you're looking to take. In this information as well, you'll also find the days and times that it's offered. Under room, you'll be able to identify whether it's for example, a bisynchronous course. If it's a face-to-face, it'll have a specific room number and building. Or again, if it's say it's a synchronous online class, you'll be able to identify that under this room section. You'll also be able to find the name of the instructor and the meeting dates of the course. If like Vero mentioned, right, being a full-time student requires you to be in at least 12 units. If you notice from looking at this right here, it doesn't specify the units of the course, right? So what you're going to want to do is click on this hyperlink under section, and it's going to give you a little bit more information about the course. So under this one, it's going to let you know that it's still open. Again, it's going to have the 4-digit class number, and it's also going to let you know the units, the unit amount, right? So it's going to be important for you to, really go click on that hyperlink, get a little bit more information about the class, but more importantly, just to check the unit amount to see if, you're going to be at those 12 units, or if you're going to need to add another course or whatever it may be. Again, you're going to be able to find some more information about the meeting information. Under enrollment information is where you're going to be able to see if there's any specific prerequisites that the course may entail. And then one thing that I do want to point out under class attributes is if you see right here, it says that it's going to meet the upper division arts and humanities requirement. So if you're ever in doubt about a class that you're looking into and you want to make sure that it indeed is going to meet the specific GE requirement that you're looking to meet, you can always go into to click the hyperlink under section and just reference right here under class attributes to make sure that the class you're taking indeed is going to meet the GE requirement. For some courses that say already have a wait list available, you can also check under class availability under wait list total, and it's going to let you know how many students that course has on the wait list, just in the case you are looking to join a course that has a wait list already. At the very bottom of the course is where you can see the description. I definitely encourage all students, to read the description of the course you're looking to take, just to make sure that, more than anything, it's a course you're going to really be engaged in throughout the semester. So yeah, yes, you can go in there, just select the courses that kind of catch your interest from the title, but it's still encouraged, to really do a little bit more research, read the description, and really solidify your decision, the first time that you start looking for courses. All right, y'all. So that is that. Another thing that I want to point out while we are here is, if you notice under Native American Studies 346, you'll see that, for example, class section 002 and section 101, they have this Ukiah campus and this Vallejo campus. So it's going to be important for you, as you're kind of looking through these this schedule of classes, is that if you see a course that says Ukiah or Vallejo, that these courses you wouldn't be able to take these courses because they are specifically reserved for students that are taking courses at the Ukiah campus or at the Vallejo campus. So, say if Native American Studies 346 is a course you're interested in taking, your only option really would be this section 001 with Professor Silvia Soto. So also take note of that, just giving you this example since it's right here. But you also want to take note of that as you continue your tenure here at Sonoma State. With that being said, I do want to go back to modify search real quick. I want to show y'all a neat function, right? So like mentioned, the courses that I showed you all, they were courses that were still open, that still had seats available, that are still options for you all to take, right? And the way that I was able to use or to really filter it out by courses that were still open is because of this show open classes only checkbox. So by clicking this box, it allowed me to see all the options that are still available. If I were to unclick it and I were to click search, it's going to show us all the courses that were available that would have met the upper division arts and humanities requirement, but it's going to also include the ones that are still on a wait list. So like mentioned, say if you were interested in taking AMCS 350, if I click on section, under class availability, I can see that, it's at capacity and that there's 3 people on the wait list, right? So this, like mentioned, this is why it's going to be important for you to go into the section and see how many more spaces are available. Because if, say, there's a course that only has 3 more seats available and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna wait a few days just to really finalize on my schedule, it could be that in those 3 days, the class gets full, right? So just take note of how many spaces are available to make sure that, you're able to get into the course or to really have a backup plan in the case that you can't get into the course. But yeah, so with that being said, let me just see if there's anything else. All right, perfect. So that was a quick demonstration of how to search for classes. Hopefully you all found it useful. And with that being said, now that you know how to search for classes, I want to go over what the process is going to be to enroll in courses, right? So give me 1 second. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and go ahead and go back to the PowerPoint. All right, perfect, y'all. So now what we're going to cover is really going, over how to add a class, right? So this is probably going to be one of the more important things to take note of. But for this section, unfortunately, I can't show a live demonstration with Sally Sonoma. So I'm going to go over these screenshots that's going to look very similar to the process that y'all are going to be doing, right? So once you again go into your student center, you can go into identify, find this where it says enrollment shopping cart, in order to get you to this next screen. So this is going to look similar to the screen that you're going to see when you're trying to add courses to your enrollment shopping cart, right? And your enrollment shopping cart is really going to be beneficial because it's going to help you essentially prepare for your enrollment registration window, right? So what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to load all the courses that you're looking to, that you're interested in taking into your shopping cart, and they're going to populate here, right? So that's going to be super convenient because you're already going to have all your courses in your shopping cart. So when your appointment window opens up, you can go into your shopping cart and enroll into the courses that you're looking to enroll instead of having to search for on the spot. So it's going to be really, really time efficient for you to do and really get into the practice of doing. So one thing to note here, if y'all remember, I said the 4-digit class numbers when looking for searching for classes. You're going to use those 4-digit numbers and put them into enter class number. So this is going to be a super quick way for you to kind of just, put the course in there. So, when you are searching for classes, make sure to write down those numbers and keep them in a safe place, whether it's on your notes on your phone, on your Google Drive, whatever system you have going on for yourself. What I will say is, have a list of alternative courses in the case that a course that you're interested in taking gets filled up, there's a wait list, it closes, whatever it may be. It's always good just to have that backup plan. So you can be ready to go in case anything comes up. All right, y'all. So once y'all put in those 4-digit numbers, you're going to be prompted to a page that looks very similar to this. So it's going to be important that you verify that the course is correct. So, make sure that you can find the course information right here on the top. Also under enrollment information, make sure to check that it is meeting the specific general education requirement that you're looking to complete. And one thing to point out here is going to be this waitlist function. So I recommend you click on this waitlist function just in case anything comes up. But this is also going to be beneficial for you to know in the case that you are looking to get onto the waitlist for a class that has a waitlist option, right? So if that is the case, it's going to be a similar process, right? You'll search for the class, make sure to unselect the view all open classes function so you can see the course that's on the wait list. And then once you get to this screen, you'll click on the wait list and do the same process that I'm going to go over. Like Vero mentioned earlier, there can be some situation where, say, your academic requirement report isn't fully updated with all the courses you took at your previous institution, which means that you might need a permission code to get into some of the courses that you need. more so, I guess, in within your major. So, if you do go through the process and getting a permission number, this is a section where you're going to want to input the number that you are given. So just take note that in the first step, when enrolling in courses, that's either going to be where you get yourself added to the wait list or where you're able to use the permission number given to get into a course. In this section as well, it's going to have a grading option. So, say if you're taking like a kinesiology 101 course, those courses tend to be able to be taken as a pass, no pass option. If you are taking a major requirement or even a GE course, more than likely you will need to do the graded option. But the course that you are taking will give you these options as well. So if you are taking a course and they don't have a pass, no pass option, more than likely you're gonna, nothing's gonna populate. But if you are taking, say, like I mentioned, a Kim 101 course, for example, you may get the option where you can take it as a pass, no pass option. Again, you'll just want to verify the information at this bottom section here. And once you verify all the options, you're going to go ahead and click next, and you'll be directed to this page here. So again, you'll want to make sure to read this information provided. Double check again that the course you're taking, that you're enrolling in, is correct, whether that's the name, especially the day and time, and the room, whether it's online or in person. And you'll want to go ahead and click finish enrolling. I do want to point out, this is very important, that if you are adding courses to your shopping cart, it does not mean that you are enrolled in that course. Meaning, like mentioned, your shopping cart is going to be a way for you to kind of prepare for registration, but it's not going to automatically enroll you into the course when your enrollment window opens. You are going to have to log into your student center, go into your shopping cart, and enroll in the courses that you are looking to enroll in. So please take note of that. The shopping cart is a way for you to prepare for registration, but doesn't automatically register you for classes. So again, once you click finish enrolling, you're going to be directed to a page that looks like this, right? So the main things to take away from once you get to these viewing results page is going to be these, either the green check mark or the red X, right? A green check mark means that you successfully got enrolled into the course, and you'll see it under the status function here. If you get a red X, that means that there was an error and you weren't able to get into the course. If that does happen, under the message section, there will be a reason why you weren't able to get into the course, whether it's prerequisites, whether it's because the class was full, whatever it may be. Make sure to read the message section so you can get that information. And, just to point out, right, for you all that, you're coming in as first-time transfer students, it may be that you get a lot of red X's, right? And if that is the case, that's where Beto and I can come in to be of support. Make sure to reach out to us so we can kind of go over what that red X means, how to strategize around it. Or, it could be that your, academic requirement report needs some updating, or your TCR needs some updating. So if that is the case, like mentioned, reach out to us so we can be of support, so we can strategize around that, to make sure that the semesters moving forward, you don't get any red X's, or so we can address any questions or concerns that you may have. So that's the main thing from this page. So once you see this green check mark, if you're looking to add another course, you can just go ahead and click add another class, and you can build up your shopping cart to prepare for your registration period for the next semester. And then with that being said, where to seek advising. All right, y'all. So this is going to be important for you all to know, right? Because, as a transfer student myself, we're so used to, going to see an academic counselor. And then once you get to a university, they change that vernacular to as an advisor, right? So, at my time at community college, it was very straightforward on who I needed to see. And then once I transferred to a university, it was still straightforward, but, it can be a little confusing at times, right? So the Advising and Transfer Center, so, Vero and myself, we can support you all around any general education academic advising. So whether it's, any lower division requirements you still need to complete, whether it's any of those civil studies requirements you still need to complete, or any of those 9 upper division general education units that you still need to complete. So anything related to general education, Vero and I are there to be of support. We are part of your support system, and you can schedule an appointment with us either via Logo Connect or by calling the Advising and Transfer Center office. If you are part of a specialized population or support program such as, EOP, California Promise, if you're a student athlete, part of MESA, or any other support programs on campus, you'll also be able to schedule a meeting with your advisor via Logo Connect. So with that being said, it may be that you have 4 different academic advisors at Sonoma State, right? It could be that you have Vero and I for general education. It could be that you have another academic advisor if you're part of a support program. So take note that you will have options of people that you can meet with. And all of that information, if you are scheduling via Logo Connect, will pop up. So just remember, anything general education related, you can go through Logo Connect or reach out to the person specifically. And yeah, and if you're not sure of who your advisor is, just reach out to Vero and I, and we can let you know. We're more than happy to do that. But one thing that is going to look a little bit different, especially from community college, is going to be this faculty advisors. So with faculty advisors, they're going to be your go-to people to receive academic advising around major specific requirements. So anything that falls from under your major requirements on your academic requirement report, if you have any questions around any of that, that's where you're going to want to go see your assigned major advisor, because they're going to be your go-to people for that. So, just remember, anything general education related, advising and transfer center, anything major related, you're going to want to go touch base with your faculty advisor. And in order to touch base with your faculty advisor, many, actually all of them, aren't on Logo Connect, right? So to schedule an appointment with them, you are going to want to go on your department's website. All of the departments have a tab that says advising that's going to specify the best way for you to connect with them. Some may have like a sheet that you can sign up to for office hours. Some are going to require you to send them an email. It's going to be important for you to go to that department website though, take a look at the advising component and see the best way for you to connect with them. So all in all, y'all, from where to seek advising, again, just to reemphasize it, general education, you can come talk to Veto and myself or any of the advisors in the Advising and Transfer Center. Anything major specific, you're going to want to touch base with your faculty advisors. And then if you all scan this QR code here, it's going to direct you to a bunch of additional resources that contain YouTube videos on some of the information that we covered here today, right? But say Vero and myself aren't available, and you forget how to access your academic requirement report or how to search for classes, and you're looking for a quick little resource, scan this QR code. You're going to be directed to our YouTube page that's going to contain a lot of useful YouTube videos, kind of to serve as a refresher, or to really use, just as a resource for you to really navigate when it comes to registering for classes, or going over any of your My SSU tools. So with that being said, that concludes my portion of this presentation, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to Vero so we can continue going with our presentation. Yeah, like Little mentioned, right? If you are in need of a permission code, or you do need or if you have any questions around your major, your major faculty advisor is going to be your go-to person, right? So you'll also want to reference this registration guide or registration packet to learn how to contact your department. Like Little mentioned, especially in the summer, right? For the most part, our faculty aren't around, but they do specify who you can connect with during the summer so you can get your questions answered, whether it's, that permission code, whether it's about learning what courses you should be considering for the fall. So definitely refer to this packet and or guide so you can get that information, so you know who to reach out to, and really prepare to know what courses you should be taking as you begin to enroll for fall 2023. And yeah, again, yes, pay attention to contacting your department, but all the information on this guide is going to be beneficial. Like Vero mentioned, it was a cross collaboration with campus partners to make sure that you all have the information that you need to make your transition to Sonoma State, as smooth as possible, and to make sure that you know who to go to in case you have any questions or concerns or just need any form of support. So with that being said, I'll pass it back on to Alvin. And
Thanks, Aaron. So now we're going to talk about transcripts. Again, this is one of those instances about progress, not perfection, because we're talking about hundreds of students submitting their transcripts, right? I'll tell you a little bit more about what I mean by progress and perfection in just a moment, but let's go over these important dates. So when are transcripts due? Transcripts are going to be due July 1st. So you're going to want to submit all of your official final transcripts showing all of your grades, including this last semester's or quarter that you finished, by July 1st, 2023. So that's coming up really soon. So if you haven't already submitted your official transcripts, you're definitely going to want to start getting on that now. So you request the transcripts to be sent to Sonoma State. And a common question we get is, what happens once transcripts are received by SSU? How long does it take to process? So the transcripts, once they're received by admissions, they're manually reviewed by an admissions specialist to look over all the requirements that are met on your transcript. So it does sometimes take 7 to 10 business days for those transcripts to post onto your transfer credit report and your ARR. Okay, so remember, they're saying here, we cannot use unofficial documentation. So have all your official transcripts in by July 1st. An admission specialist will look over it. It may take 7 to 10 days. So this is that progress, not perfection piece that we're talking about, because there might be a little bit of delay in it getting posted to your transfer credit report. You know already what classes you have taken and what classes you have passed. So you'll have a general idea as to which ones are going to meet the requirements here at Sonoma State. So you might need to inference and make your best guess in terms of what classes you're still going to need to take, right? So when you go to register for your classes, maybe your transfer credit report isn't built yet, but you know that you've made progress in certain classes and you know which classes you're not going to need to take. So that's why Vero was talking very highly about your major courses and those upper division GEs, right? Everybody needs to take major courses and upper division GEs. So the transfer credit piece is important, but you're making progress towards degree by focusing on your upper division GE and your major classes, even though your transfer credit might not be built yet because of this 7 to 10 day delay. So how can you confirm receipt of your transcript? So once the transcript has been processed by the admissions office, you'll be able to see all that transfer credit in your ARR and your TCR. So that is the confirmation, again, given that there's 7 to 10 day delay when they receive it. So also take into consideration the time it takes to get sent and then that 7 to 10 days. The admissions office is really happy to answer any questions that you might have. So definitely feel free to reach out to them at admissions@sonoma.edu for assistance. And then from there, they will route you to the admissions specialist that is assigned specifically to you. And those questions might be, hey, I sent in my transcripts 12 days ago, And I know it takes 7 to 10 business days for it to post, like just wanting to check in to see if you received it. And, they might just say, yes, we received it. It's, in progress. We're in the process of looking it over. Or they might say, oh, we never received it. And then you go, uh-oh, we really need to focus on that. Questions about what has transferred over, how come I sent this in and I don't see it on my transfer credit report. If they have time, they might be able to answer that. But again, it goes back to that progress, not perfection piece, right? Like we have all of fall semester to tighten up those things, to catch maybe the things that we thought were going to transfer over and put in the request to make sure that everything is done right. So it's not catastrophic if you don't see it on your transfer credit report, let's say in July, right? Like there's time to work on those things. So really the most important piece is getting official transcripts in so that that transfer credit report can be built and that we can get you rocking and rolling as best as we can with the information that we have at the time. So that's what we mean by progress, not perfection. I'm not going to click on this website link, but this website link will be included in the emails that you received. It's how to submit transcripts. On that webpage, it talks about all the different transcripts that are acceptable from admissions by what means, aka don't screenshot it, print it out, put it in an envelope and send it to admissions. It basically says you're going to need to send in an official transcript through an official method, whether by requesting from your school or having it electronically submitted to Sonoma State. So all of the information about what's accepted is on that webpage. All right, well, now that transcripts are out of the way, we are nearing the end of our presentation. So what's next? We just talked about all things advising and registration, right? And as you know, with orientation, it's a 3-part piece. You have advising and registration, you have the Ask Me Anything series, and then you have the week of welcome. So the Ask Me Anything series is what's happening right now. You may have received some emails about it already, or there's going to be some upcoming virtual talks. There are 4 of them, and it goes over all the different information about campus resources that you would be able to find helpful. I'm not going to go through the whole list, but the first one, very important, right? Doing business with SSU with financial aid and the Seawolf Service Center. How do you accept your financial aid package? All the questions that come up with that. How do you pay your dues? How is your financial aid applied to your dues? And do you receive a refund and all of that? So that's a really good example of an Ask Me Anything series that you're really going to want to be able to attend. So those are designed, like I said, to go over some of the most commonly asked questions about campus resources that span across the campus. So you're definitely going to want to check those out. And then lastly, the final component of orientation is the week of welcome, the one that is in person here at Sonoma State University from Wednesday, August 16th through Saturday, August 19th. The orientation team has a great schedule of things to go over with you all to make sure that you are prepared and have everything that you need to know to be a successful student at Sonoma State. And you'll probably get to see Alvin, Vero, and Aaron again at some point during that week, and we'll be doing it in person, and we'll be really looking forward to meeting you all. So if you have any questions about the Ask Me Anything series, the week of welcome, when is it, check out their webpage for sure, the orientation webpage, but you can also email them if you have any questions about what to expect for the next pieces of orientation. So that brings us to the end. I just want to say thank you for your flexibility, for your patience, for your engagement and paying attention, even though we aren't able to engage with you directly through this format. But again, like we said, we are looking forward to meeting you in person at Week of Welcome. We are looking forward to helping you as best as we can during this time. And we are very confident that you coming in as a transfer student with all of your lived experience, that you'll be able to apply that and navigate what may seem like a new system to you, but we know that you have the skills already to work through some of these challenges that may come up. So at the end of the day, remember, it's all about progress, not perfection. We're human beings. We recognize that in you, and you hope that you'll be able to recognize that in your transition too as you come to Sonoma State. So again, thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Welcome to Sonoma State University, you transfer Seawolves.